what's going on. I'm not saying it was him, but it is unique that he was here today. Good work today. Liked the practice. Got a couple more guys available. Practice today, which is encouraging. Dr. Game Week is here, so everybody's getting a little more pep in their step. Really quality opponent. Anytime you're playing a team out of the Big Ten, you're going to play a physical, blue-collar, hard-nosed team, and that's what these guys are. I think their head coach did a great job, really, in particular a couple years ago in the turmoil, adversity that they went through when the coaching change happened with Fitz, of really steadying the ship and taking them to a bowl game, a bowl win. And then last year they lost a couple of close games, but they were a good football team in a lot of regards, and they've done a really good job in the portal. When you watch them, they're really, really big. I think they're going to start 3 linemen that are 6'7", so they might come out and look at us and think we're the little giants. But they got big people. They're athletic. They're fast. They're well coached. It's a tremendous challenge in game one. There's no easing our way into the season with this one, but a lot of respect for them. Excited about the opportunity, to play a Power 4 team or Power 2 team, a Big Ten team, whatever you want to call it. All those terms. I think it's a great privilege for us to have the opportunity to do so. So, with that, we'll open it up.
How do your kind of early season goals change compared to last year, where one of them was win the state of Louisiana and not so much about these Power 4 games, but having 3 and 4 on the schedule?
Yeah, that's a great question. We made it a goal to win the state because we had 2 in-state non-conference games, which ideally I'd love, as I've been pretty outspoken on, but this schedule was made well in advance. And so now you kind of recalibrate and you go, okay, we don't play anybody in the state, so it's kind of dumb to have as one of the goals win the state this year because we're not going to win any games in the state in the regular season. We're not going to lose any either. We don't play anybody. So I do think you have to kind of recalibrate how you look at things. The challenge is real in playing 3 P4s and opening up with a Big Ten team. And so I think you have to kind of really just focus on one game at a time, not to be coach speak, but I'm not making it any bigger than it is. It's a really good opponent, a well-coached team that's got big physical, athletic guys, and we've got to be ready to go. It's going to be a challenge. From a goal standpoint, we want to win every game we play. That's sort of the goal around here, is win every one of them, one at a time. And but it did change because we don't have any in-state teams, it's all out of state.
In this new normal of college athletics with the portal and such, how does week 1 preparation change? What are you looking at? Because you've got fewer and fewer returnees that are out there as you try to get ready to look at on film of the other team, and from the other perspective, how do you prepare knowing that they don't have much on you either?
Yeah, we know what each other have done schematically. When you go back and look at last year's video, but then as we look at them, you're going to look at Preston Stone as the quarterback, right? And that's not the only guy, but that's just the kind of the key example of he wasn't there. He's at SMU. He's a starter at SMU in 23 when led him to the conference championship game. He was injured in the game against Tulane, but didn't play. But, so we have knowledge of Preston, but then you have to compare that with, all right, what have they done? And then who are the people around him? I think what they've done a good job of, quite honestly, is tailoring what they do to who they have when you look at what they've done the last couple of years. And, conversely, I think that's probably the same thing they're dealing with. They're looking at us going, all right, we know what Tulane did on offense last year, and who's going to be the quarterback? Well, they got to go back and watch, Iowa tape and BYU tape and Ball State tape and all this other tape. And so I think the opening game, there's so many more unknowns than ever before, when in the past there might be a transfer or two, right? And then there would also maybe be a coordinator change or something that might change the schematics. But now, you're looking at we got 60 new guys, and so there's just so many new people that there's a lot more unknowns, I think, going into a game 1 than ever before. And I think because of that, I watched those week 0 games very closely. I think early in the year more games are lost than won. It's like, how do you just play the game clean, and we try to do a good job around here of football IQ and teach the game, and you can cover things till you're blue in the face, but getting guys to really hone in on those little details that can make up the difference in a game when little details matter.
Brendan Sullivan's reps have ramped up, obviously.
Yeah.
How positive do you feel about Brendan if he's needed on Saturday against Northwestern?
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good today. We'll see. After today, we'll see how he feels. Like I've told him the whole time, we're not going to rush you back. If you're ready, you're ready. If you're not, you're not. We're going to live with that. But he's a tough dude. He was out there today, took some reps. I thought moved around good. I wouldn't say great, but good. The thing about Brendan is him moving around good is still better than a lot of people's best. He's got real speed. He's a tough dude. But we'll see how it goes through the week. I was glad to see him out there today. That gives him hope to be available. And then we'll kind of see how his body feels later today into tomorrow. And then he'll probably get a little bit more tomorrow and kind of see where we're at. But yeah, it was good to have him back. I mean, he's been back really since late last week doing a few things, but today was definitely the most he's done in a week and a half.
Is that QB announcement coming at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning?
It'll be 10:59. Yeah. I'll let somebody know right before we kick off. Yeah, 10:59. No, look, I'm not. There's no secret. Jake's taken the majority of the reps with the ones recently. Brendan's been in that competition. I'd say when you looked before Brendan was down, I'd say it was kind of Brendan and Jake's battle. But Samanza's done really good things and still available. And then, Donovan Leary's last 2 weeks have been the best 2 weeks he's had since he's been here. But it's been a Jake and Brendan kind of, their lane, if you will. I don't think we'll have an announcement until we go to snap one. If somebody leaks something, then I'm going to call Courier and get mad at him. But no, you can put it out that we're going to start at least one quarterback on the first play of the offensive series.
Final one for me. Coach, usually trying to motivate your players, kind of us against the world kind of things, but y'all are favored on Saturday. Like, people expect a lot of great things from y'all this year. How do you message that to your players to kind of get them to feel that disrespect, to kind of build them back up for that game?
Yeah, the only thing I saw something this morning that had us losing the game on somebody's prediction. So I don't know. Like, I've seen probably, everybody puts out whatever they put out. Like, we got to go play. You get what you earn. And if we're ready to play a good, clean football game, I told our team yesterday, like, I don't really, like, the scoreboard matters, right? Like, there's a reason, I say this all the time, there's a reason why the scoreboard has electricity. It matters. I don't concern myself with what's going to happen on the scoreboard. I concern myself more with, like, how do we play the game? It's not necessarily what we do, it's how we do it. And if we do it the right way, I can live with anything. We can move along and keep chugging along. Do we want to win a game? Hell yeah, we want to win the game. And so, but if you consume yourself with just like the scoreboard, you're not really focused on what helps you get the right outcome, And so we just have to focus on being the best we can be on Saturday. The way you do that is be the best you can be every day this week in preparation, and then go out and hopefully play a good game on Saturday.
You haven't had success against Power 4 schools in your head coaching career, which isn't unusual when you look at
Thanks for reminding me.
When you look at the name of the opponent and the location of most of those games. Just what's the challenge there, and what is it? What do you feel like it takes to beat an opponent like that?
Yeah, I think protecting the football matters. I think sometimes in these games, the line of scrimmage has been a challenge in the ones I've been a part of. There's always that. You look, like I said earlier, you look at their O-line, and they're a bigger outfit than we're used to seeing probably. And so those are probably the things that stick out usually. And then you can't beat yourself. There's been a couple of these that I've been in that coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you kind of let it get away because you do something maybe that is costly in a critical moment. And so, but I don't really overthink the conference affiliation too much on the outcome. I mean, I've lost to teams that weren't Power 4 teams too before. So lost a little bit of everybody at some point in life.
To that point, with the advent of the transfer portal, John, have you noticed, you used to always talk about levels of football, the different levels. I mean, is that changing as you look at rosters because of the moving around so much?
It really does. That's a good question, Jeff. I'd say this is you look at their slot receivers. One of these guys is a transfer from South Dakota State and is a really good football player, right? Like, he's a guy that when I watch him on video from last year at South Dakota State, I'm like, man, this guy's a freaking dude. It's an FCS school. Everybody knows North Dakota State, but it's a FCS school, and he's now at a Big Ten school and is probably one of the better receivers I think you're going to see on the field on Saturday. Like, you see that fluidity. You look last year on our team, Micah Robinson, Jonathan Edwards were both FCS guys, Indiana State and Furman, and one of them got drafted, and one of them was a highly sought-after undrafted free agent this year. So I think because of that player movement, I do think you see just kind of maybe a lot of challenging parts of figuring out, who another team is, but then like you see the competition of, I think things has kind of shrunk and guys are more similar than dissimilar, if you will. I think you're seeing, and I think too, when you have time with a player in your program for 3, 4, 5 years, man, in that 4th and 5th year, there's a lot of things that one word can say a lot to a guy. Now you're having to figure out how to get guys up to speed and being efficient within doing so, and there's a challenge there. And so I think that's maybe changed the level of play to some degree at all levels, the highest all the way down to the lowest of college football. And so I do think maybe it's created some parity to some degree, the player movement, because you don't have that continuity year in, year out.
Hey, Coach, you sort of touched on it a second ago, but with 60 new players, how is a group, especially that large, giving you the confidence going into, I guess, a high-caliber game like this in the season opener?
Yeah, I mean, I like our talent level. I like our athleticism. Like, this team's got good athletic traits. When you watch them run and you watch them move, like, this team, it belongs. It's every bit as good as the bunch we had last year from a physical standpoint. The biggest challenge is we've got 2 returning starters on offense and 3 on defense. And so you've got 5 guys that started, consistently last year. Like, Jack Chinchey wasn't a starter but played a lot. But you got 5 guys that were like every game type starters on last year's team. And so there's maybe some uncertainty in that regard. And then there's guys that you believe in that are new, but I've never seen them doing a Tulane uniform. And they've never played a game in this stadium, and so all those things kind of, you're never really sure what a guy's going to respond like when the bullets are live, if you will, and the game's against another opponent. And so I got a lot of confidence in this team. I have a lot of confidence in the individuals, but everybody's 0-0. Nobody's been faced real adversity yet. I've never been a part of a game or a season that adversity doesn't hit at some point. And you have to be prepared for that. And I think that's going to be the biggest question I have is, like, do we flinch when something doesn't go our way? Or do we put our feet in the ground and stand on our 2 feet and be bold and be strong and fight for each other? And so that's the thing, I think, with all this roster movement that I probably have the biggest concern over. But I have hope because I like our ability. I've seen the guys compete with each other, and I've seen this team – from the start of training camp, to be honest with you, to now really become a lot closer.
Back here, any game week thoughts about the weather on Saturday?
Yeah, I want it really hot. Yeah. Last I looked at it, I looked at the weather probably second most to watching tape. And this morning, I think it looked like it could be a 40% chance of thunderstorms. I think that's just like the normal 4 or 5 days out, like CYA. It could rain or it may not rain. We don't know. It's welcome to South Louisiana. That means it could be a monsoon or it could be nothing. But yeah, I think you'll always look at the weather. We look at that with every game. I look at all that stuff for from weather to like temperature, humidity, Could there be moisture to affect the ball? We did a lot of wet ball stuff today at practice. If you were there the first part of the special teams period, I was out there making sure every ball was pretty waterlogged, so the snappers had to deal with it and the punters had to catch it, and you have to be prepared for anything. But yeah, you always, in South Louisiana in late August, it's going to be pretty muggy, and that's just something we take on.
You're opening against another team from this region, like South Alabama, but you're opening against a team from Illinois.
Yeah.
Do you wonder if, because generally I think most people would rather not play during the day in August.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't put a whole lot of thought into their preparation on it or how they're dealing with it. I'm sure they've got plenty of resources to go do things that make it more challenging or whatever. But yeah, I like it. I'm great with a day game in August. I have no problem with it. You know what I mean? I think it's fun.
You loaded up on talented defensive linemen in the portal and brought some back too. You mentioned you've talked about how much depth you have there. How confident are you that these guys are going to be able to mesh right away? Because it's a lot of new faces up there.
They've done a really good job, playing with each other and understanding how to work together. I think being deep up front is a huge positive. You can roll a lot of guys in. I think you'll see probably 10 defensive linemen playing the game out of our 3-man front stuff, and then with the boundary edge guy kind of being a hybrid type guy, I think we'll probably play 3 guys there. So for the front 4 spots, you're looking at playing probably 13 guys in the game plan, which I like. I like being able to roll guys in and let them be fresh. And so I like where we're at there from a number standpoint. We need to see who's going to go out and play at a really high level and be productive and be disruptive.
When you said more games are lost early than won, does that affect? I mean, are you calling more conservatively?
No, we won't call it conservative. I think situational football. Like, to be honest, we're probably offensively, not to give anything away, we're probably playing the game a little more aggressively right now than we have last year with how we're doing some things. But I would say it's about protecting the football. It's about not like last week. You watched the Iowa State-Kansas State game, late third quarter, double move touchdown. The very next drive, the other team, double move touchdown. Guy just runs by somebody because he runs a hitch and go basically. And so it's just those little things. Like last week, the Hawaii Stanford game, the kick returner, ball hits the ground and he fair catches it while it's hitting the ground and then goes and fields it. Well, that means the ball is dead where it was, which was the 1 yard line. And it's like, man, how can we avoid doing really dumb things? like let's just play with our head in the right space and don't beat ourselves. Like we say it all the time, the wave don't beat the wave. Like, let's not beat ourselves. This other team's good enough already. Just don't beat yourself. And so play clean football. Alignment stuff on offense, like, are you on the ball or off the ball, receiver? Be smart. Know what you're supposed to do. So it's just those kind of things procedurally. I think pre-snap stuff in game ones, unsportsmanlike conduct stuff that I've tried to coach till I'm like I said, till I can't coach it anymore. But I show the guys more clips of that kind of stuff, just because I want to make sure that we put our best foot forward in the game and give ourselves the best chance to be successful. Awesome. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all being here.